Okay, great. I think we are ready to roll. So we will walk you to the board meeting, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. It's our flag somewhere. There we go. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. One day we'll make that right. Okay, Madam Secretary, if you will call the roll.
Mr. Carter, Mr. Robleski,
Here.
Mrs. Peasky, Martin here,
Here.
Mr. Brooks, Mrs. Williams,
He's absent.
and Mrs. Washington.
Here. Thank you. So we are in our organizational portion of the meeting because this is July where we handle the organizational part. So organization under B, we need to take care of the financial depositories for 2021 school year. Are we making a motion to use all three of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So is there a motion for the financial depositories for school year 2021? Is there a motion for Lake Osceola State Bank, Michigan Municipal Bond Authority in Lansing, and the My Michigan District Liquid Asset Fund Plus in Lansing?
So moved.
Is that Mr. Robleski?
Yes.
Was that Mr. Robleski? Okay.
Yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
it'll help too if you're on the phone. Let us know. I think it's you and Mr. Carter. So it's been motioned by Mr. Robleski. Is there a second or support?
Support.
Peasky second.
Supported by Mrs. Peasky. Is there any questions or comments to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Authorization for the signatures. We authorize the following signatures for the funds listed below. So the general fund, we're looking for the treasurer, secretary, or vice president, payroll, food service, and student activities to be the treasurer. Is there a motion?
Support it.
I'll make a motion.
Was
So
that
the
Mary
motion
Ann?
was made by Lisa Williams
Marianne Peasky.
and supported by Mary Ann Peasky. Is there any
Other way
questions or
around.
comments to the motion? Is there any questions or comments to the motion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to D, it's the debt retirement and Michigan liquid asset funds account. We authorize the Associate Superintendent of Business and Ancillary Services, Mr. David Forster, to perform electronic transfers between the district's general fund, the debt fund, building and site fund, food service fund, student activity account, Michigan liquid asset fund, and to fill the financial obligations of the district. Is there a motion? I just need two people. One to make.
Marianne Peasky, motion.
Okay. Support.
So motion was made by Mrs. Peasky, supported by Mrs. Williams. Any questions or comments to the motion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to the legal notice for posting a resolution. Adopt a resolution designation for Cher Robinson and Richard Heitmeyer to post all public notices of the Board of Education's meeting and legal notices.
This is Jeff. I make a motion that we approve Mr. Heitmeyer and Ms. Robinson to make those public notices posted.
Thank you, Ms. Robuski. Is there a support?
Support.
I'll support it. Okay, Mr. Carter?
Supported by Mr. Carter.
Yes.
Is there any questions to the motion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Designation of election duties and responsibilities. We'd like to authorize the secretary to designate Mr. Forrester, the Associate Superintendent of Business and Ancillary Services, and the duties and responsibility of election year for 2021. Is there a motion?
Mary Ann Peasky, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll support it.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Mary Ann Peasky, supported by Lisa Williams. Any questions or comments to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, this is for the MASB liaison member. Do we know who it was for last school year?
Do we have one?
I don't
Can't
know.
hear you, Rick.
I think it was either Mrs. Washington or Miss Martin, but I'm not positive.
I'll do it because it'll be maybe something else in here that Mrs. Martin would like to do. So I'll do it if she doesn't want to. Is that okay, Ms. Martin, or anybody else would like to do that
Absolutely.
task?
Absolutely.
Anyone else? All right, well, we'll appoint the current president as the Michigan Association of School Boards liaison member for 2021 school year. Needed in the form of a motion.
Make a motion that we appoint the president, Sean Washington, as the Michigan Association of School Boards liaison member for the 2021 school year.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Mrs. Williams. Is there a second?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Carter. Any questions or comments to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving down to H, West Shore ESD representative. Do we know who that was last year, Mr. Heitmeyer?
It was Mr. Carter and Mrs. Williams was the alternate.
Either one of you still want to continue to do that?
I won't be here next year.
Okay. Mr. Carter, are you
I'll
still willing
continue
to
to do
be?
that. Yes, I'll
Okay.
take that duty on.
Okay. And if someone would like to be the alternate?
I'll be the alternate.
All right. So the motion is to approve Mr. Carter to be the budget hearing representative and Ms. Martin to be the alternate for the 2021 school year. Just need a motion.
I'll support that.
Who was the first? Who,
I'll make a motion.
okay,
Yeah, I need someone to be up to make the motion. So it looks like the motion was made by Mrs. Peasky and supported by Mrs. Williams. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving down to the designated of the third Tuesday of each month as the day that in the elementary media center, or we could probably say virtually, has the location at 6 p.m. and the time of the regular meeting shall be held at least once a month. I really think we probably should add virtually in there, huh?
I make a motion that we do that with the, and if you want to put the virtual in, that's good.
It's probably been motioned by Mrs. Peasky,
I support.
supported by Mr. Robleski. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carry. Okay, so now we'll adjourn the organization meeting at 6:12 p.m. All right, so
We need a motion on
now
that,
we'll
huh?
call, I'm sorry.
Did you need a motion on that or adjourn?
Probably should have a
We're just
motion.
gonna adjourn it. We'll make a motion. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right. All right, it's been
Made the
motioned and
motion.
second.
Peasky made the
Peasky.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. None opposed, motion carried. So now we'll call the regular meeting to order at 6:13. Madam Secretary, we'll have you call a roll again.
Okay. Mr. Carter,
Present.
Mr. Robleski,
Yes.
Mr.
Here.
Peasky,
Here.
Martin here, Mr. Brooks, Mrs. Williams, and
Here.
Mrs. Washington.
Here, thank you, Madam Secretary. All right, so C, we have the consent agenda items, the approval of the agenda, the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of August 16, 2020, approval of the minutes of the special meeting of June 30th, 2020, approval of the bills to be paid, general check fund account starting at 74044 to 74113, food service account starting at 5028 to 5032, and Baldwin Promise Authority check account starting at 1297 and 1298. Motion for the consent agenda items.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items.
So motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Robleski, second by Mrs. Peasky. Any questions or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Any principals reports? Who would like to go first? Mr. Mangum, would you like to go first with your principal report?
Sure. First one ever, right?
Yes.
So, just proud to report that our second grade academy is happening, and it's rolling really, really well. Students are getting instruction daily targeted reading instruction for in logic of English, differentiated reading instruction, and guided reading instruction, as well as other related activities. The teachers were happy to report they were seeing positive results for those regularly attending students, and the decision was made to extend the program an additional 2 weeks. So we went from 4 weeks to 6 weeks for the summer. And then in general building news, I threw out an invitation to all instructional staff, teachers and paraprofessionals, just to have some informal conversations with me about just to share a little bit about themselves, the goals for their students, and we discussed a little bit about how I can help them reach those goals. And many staff have taken the opportunity to set up those times to meet with me virtually, and a couple of folks in person as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any questions or comments for Mr. Mangum? Well, a welcome to is this your first official board
This
meeting?
one.
Official?
Well, other than the approval.
Well, we kind of did it last. Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for your first official elementary report. I'm glad to hear that the second grade academy is going well and they're getting great feedback. And it's going to be extended 2 weeks. So that is awesome news.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Cornwell, you're up.
All right. So summer school at the middle school, we finally got all of our Scholastic books in, and they're being packaged up today and tomorrow. They should be ready for the mail maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. So each kid, 6 through 8, has 5 books coming to them. Quite an assortment of some good reading. I kind of wish we had a few extras so I could revisit some classics like Where the Red Fern Grows, but no such luck. I'm sure Mr. Heitmeyer will fill you in with much more detail later on. The return to school planning has been extensive. I would guess that we've probably put in 30 hours this week already of work time on it. Staff, administrators, community partners, it's been quite the experience. I'll warn you right now, I'm sure Mr. Heitmeyer probably would too, that it's not going to be a perfect plan because there's so many unknowns, but we've done a pretty good job so far of covering every possibility we can think of. So if we ever have to go through this again, we've got a really good product to start from. But other than that, I'm looking forward to actually getting some teaching and learning going back on instead of just planning for teaching and learning.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Cornwell? How many middle school students do we have enrolled in summer school? Do you know off the top of your head? Just curious.
All of our students are getting those books for summer school.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
So every 6th through 8th grader is going to get those 5 books. We didn't want to.
That's like a couple hundred, isn't it?
128 or something close to that.
Okay.
We really didn't want to give them another virtual experience, not being able to have them in person after they had just done virtual learning and potentially going to go do some more virtual learning. Wanted to give them a chance to not be staring at a screen for a little while.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Getting books into the households of our families is a great thing. So thank you. All right. Let me see what's next on the agenda. We have a public comment. Any public comments or public communication? I didn't see my little chat box come up. Oh. Okay, it says that there are no comments, so we'll continue on. No discussion items this evening?
No discussion, no action for this month.
Okay, and I will just follow the agenda and ask again about comments and communication, just in case someone changed their mind in the last 15 seconds. Trent, still no comments? Thank you, sir. There are no comments. Okay, thank you. Moving right along. No action items, so we're just gonna get right down to what's really going on with the superintendent items. So I'll
All
turn
right,
it over
all
to
right.
Mr.
Welcome again, everybody. Four things I want to talk about. I'll try not to ramble too long. As far as human resources, we've got a couple different positions out there. The one that we're really hoping to fill is well, elementary and secondary special ed. And we've had no applicants. That's pretty much par for the course right now. There are a lot of special education openings. Not a lot of people have been applying out there for those. We're going to try to be creative at the secondary if we can, and see if any staff are interested in maybe working toward a special ed degree. Because we really only need a couple hours at the secondary, so we're trying to see what we can do with existing staff, or if we need to branch out and see if anybody wants any additional training. But the candidates are few and far between, so no applicants for special ed so far, but we'll keep trying. So plans for 2021. Before I reiterate what Mr. Mangum and Mr. Cornwell said, I do want to throw back out there that we do need to start thinking about looking again at a bond project. Maybe when and if we get back to discussing things in person, maybe we'd be looking at maybe next May or something like that to bring something forward. But we gotta get thinking about it. And I do truly believe that what we looked for before is probably what we really need. So we can revisit that. I met with Dave Moore from IDI last week and kind of discussed through some things. And I told him the same thing. We wouldn't have gone out to the community with the request we went with if we didn't really believe that that's what we need for our kids. So be thinking about that. I really wanted to get that back on your radar and get the board thinking that we need to do something and what that might look like. This is a very unique time to be thinking of how to use our buildings when right now we're not. So, but we will again, and maybe through this process we've realized we do need some larger spaces like we were talking about. But maybe we need to look at some larger configurations for common areas and stuff where we may be able to have more people. Chances are we're going to go through something similar to this again, or for an extended time. So. Those are things to think about. But as we think about next year, we have met officially with our what we call our task force, which is made up of our district network team that already meets regularly. We meet monthly or more as needed. But we've included a lot of our community partners, a lot of our vendors. And brought in some additional teachers who are specialized, like special ed teachers and specials teachers, elementary music and those things, to really talk about how to educate our kids. We've met 7 or 8 times to really work on that stuff. Basically, since school got out. School got out June 12th. We had our first meeting on June 15th to talk about what this year was going to look like. We've spent a lot of time on the 30th. The roadmap came out, so we really dove into that with our team, and then some guidance for how to enact that roadmap came out. And we have met every Monday and Wednesday for the last few weeks to work on that. But that doesn't include the additional time that those team members are reading the documents and reviewing the documents, or the time that there's been some subcommittees who've gotten together. So there are a large number of Baldwin folks who've really been working on what next year could potentially look like. We don't know exactly what next year is going to look like. We're making per the governor's executive order, 3 different plans. We have to have a remote learning plan, a plan for in-person instruction if we're in phase 4, which means there are a lot of social distancing, a lot of masks, not congregating at all. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but I will say we are hoping to be able to roll out a pretty polished draft for the community's review on Friday. We've been doing a lot of editing to it and clarifying with different sources on what this exactly means. And in parentheses here, so much of this process has involved taking a topic and generating like 5 questions of what does this really mean. So that's a lot of the work that the task force has been doing. But we've included Yates, Dial-A-Ride, we've included family health care, Chartwell's, Axiom, the Baldwin Promise. I mean, we've included everybody who works with us and our kids and really relied on their expertise to be able to help us answer a lot of these questions. So I really believe that we're going to have a thorough plan. So we're going to roll that out on Friday. It'll be available all next week for people to review. We're going to create like a Google form so they can send questions if they have additional questions, so we can try to answer things as people are curious. We're probably going to figure out a way to survey the community to find out who is sending their kids back. I've heard some scuttlebutt that if kids have to be masked up, some parents aren't going to send their kids back. So we need to have a good picture of what that's going to look like. And my group that's been meeting, we will meet again tomorrow from 9 to noon. We've got some different work groups that we're going to look at to try to expand what we're doing. And then on Thursday, that group is going to meet again to dig into the plan and hopefully, really flesh out some of those details so it's ready to go before the community and get some feedback and some thoughts. We pushed the start of school back to August 24th, thinking that would do about 3 different things for us. One, it would buy us some time. Now, a couple days after we did that, the governor came on at 3:00 and talked about the start of school and how we're not going to start if it's not safe. And I'm sure a lot of you watched that. So then she said, we have 55 days to determine what's going to happen because most schools start after Labor Day. I don't know how true that is about most schools after Labor Day, but she said, I know some schools start a week before. Well, I'm going, well, what about the others who start more than a week before? So I will probably talk about this with the task force tomorrow, but we may be better off saying this year we're going to start after Labor Day, because if we start before Labor Day and we're in person and we're hesitant whether that's a good idea in many different ways. But if we do that and then like on the Thursday before Labor Day, the governor gets on and says, well, we're in a bad situation in the state and we can't start, we've already done 2 weeks. So, that kind of scares me, to be honest with you. So we'll talk about it at the task force and see if it makes sense this year to even push it back more. So, we don't do anything that we're not supposed to do, even though we wouldn't know we weren't supposed to do it when we did it. But for a group, this board is great at planning and taking feedback on plans and giving thoughts. We're planning for the unknown and we are working hard to have good plans, but we've got some unintentional roadblocks as we do it. So there'll be more to come on that, but I wanted to have that little bit of discussion to give you that heads up. But it's been a process, and like I said, we're planning for what we don't even know yet. There's there's a strong push out there in some areas that we have to be back in person. There's other pushes saying this is not a good idea. So it's, as with everything that we've been dealing with lately, it's very divisive and confusing. And but just rest assured, we are working hard to put together what we believe are appropriate plans that are going to keep our staff and students safe and provide education. As Mr. Cornwell said, it probably won't be perfect. I imagine that as soon as we roll it out and we get into the year, we will say, oh, we didn't consider that possibly happening. But I really believe that in everybody's heart, we're doing all we can to put together a plan that's going to work for our community and our students. So publicly, thank you to everybody who has helped with that. We have almost 30 people who log on to Zoom and get into breakout rooms, and the discussions are great and very heartfelt. So more to come. As soon as we have a draft, we will get that out to the board for your review. And then on August 10th, the board has to officially approve that plan, and then we send it to the ISD and they forward it to the state. So in a second, I will talk about that special meeting. So professional development, usually we have a year's of professional development planned. Right now we have professional development planned. Specifically, we have EL education professional development planned for, I want to say, August 5th and 6th. We're getting some My Perspectives professional development. That's the new secondary ELA program. We're looking at later this month or early in August for that. But then the week of August 10th, we have 2 days where we're really going to focus on teaching the essentials. You've heard us talk about power standards before. There's never been a time like now that we really have to embrace teaching essentially what has to happen in the classroom. So we're going to spend some solid time on that. And then later in that week, we are going to be getting some professional development on Google Hangouts and Google Meetup. I guess it might be sort of changing its name. So, but the process will stay the same. That's the Google Hangout is the system that we will use for remote learning. So we want to make sure everybody is really up to speed on that and understands how to use that as well as Google Classroom to educate. So there'll be more to come on that, I'm sure. Special meeting August 10th. I just decided we would finish up Neola on the 10th instead of having that action item tonight. So we'll do the second and final reading on 34, 1 and 2, and we'll present our 3 plans for approval. You will already have had that ahead of time, and anything new that happens here in the next couple weeks, we'll probably work on. There may be additional policy changes that could be forthcoming. So we'll hang in there, but it shouldn't be an incredibly long meeting, but we do want to get that plan or the plans approved and officially submitted. So lots going on. Any questions?
I have one. Mr. Heitmeyer, do you mean August 10th or did you mean 11th?
Is the 10th a Monday? It's
Yep.
that Monday. Yep, August 10th.
Oh, it is a Monday? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, is the busing included in this plan for the schooling?
Yes. Yes, there's a whole section on transportation, and Yates Style Ride has been meeting with us and helping to put together that language.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions or comments on Mr. Heitmeyer's report? Are there any board member items? Well, I just want to say that as in regards to the task force, it is a lot of work going on. I sit on the task force as a representative, for the board. And I was telling Mr. Heitmeyer, I've never been professionally responsible for something as major as this and not have any control over it. And that causes great anxiety and frustration because we're ultimately held responsible. But there's been guidance from the state, but yet there's no follow-up guidance to every question that you have as we go through how do we best meet the needs of our community. And so I was really hoping that I know all of you are probably getting questions from different people in the community. What is the school doing? So if you didn't take anything out of it, please, as you're getting questions, let parents and community know that we are working on 3 plans. Just as Mr. Heitmeyer said, we're following what the state's saying that we need to do. We do have all of our community partners in there, and they have been so super about whatever you need. They're ready to meet. They're ready to do whatever it is that we need done. And that's the best thing you want with community partners, that they're understanding that we're doing everything in our power to make sure that our kids are going to have some type of internet access. I mean, we're really thinking out of the box and watch their instructional videos. So as you may be getting questions, I just want to strongly encourage you to be as positive you can. This is a place that none of us have been before, but we are doing our best. And I just want to share that information. The food is still going on for this month on Thursdays from 9 to noon, 9 to 11.
9 to 11, and it's gone really well. We our regular food pickup on Mondays, our numbers are low; they're in the 60s. But on Thursdays, we get an incredible turnout. So it's been awesome. Keep advertising it. We'll have it throughout August, and who knows? I mean, it may continue. So, but yeah, it's good stuff. So please encourage people to come up on Thursdays. Get there early because I think the last 2 weeks we have run out.
So,
Okay,
and
great.
just to
So
clarify,
spread the word. Go ahead, Mr. Forster.
I just wanted to clarify when we did the summer food service program and submitted that application to the Michigan Department of Education, we actually submitted it to end on August 11th. Obviously, we were planning to start school on the 12th. So right now, I am working with MDE to see if we can modify that. As of right now, our application will only allow us to serve meals through, is it the 11th? Maybe it's through the 11th. I think we were starting school on the 12th. So we were actually going to feed distribute meals all the way through that last day of summer. So that's currently what's in our application and what we're permitted to do.
Okay.
But
Thanks for that.
the other food though is through the end of August.
Yes.
Okay. The farming food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Farm to table food. Yep.
And the other thing, how many seats do we have that are going to be up this November election? Who are those people outside of Mrs. Williams, Miss Martin, Mr. Robleski?
I think so, yeah.
Is it just 3? Are you
And Mr.
planning
Carter.
to? Oh, it's 4, Mr. Carter. So I heard Mrs. Williams said that she wasn't going to be here. So is your plan not to run for your seat? Because I did see you're running for county clerk. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Carter, are you planning to return for your seat?
If the public will have me.
Did you do all the paperwork that you needed to do to make that happen?
Yeah, I got it all turned in.
Okay. Mrs. Martin, are you planning to run for your seat? You're muted.
I turned my paperwork in yesterday.
Mr. Robleski, same to you, sir.
Yeah, I have not turned my paperwork in, but I do plan to.
Tomorrow. The deadline is tomorrow. Yes.
Okay, thank you for telling me that.
Is the deadline tomorrow or was it today?
The
Might have been
21st.
The deadline was today at 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I'm
it was.
sorry. The 21st.
Today is
Oh,
4 o'clock.
Mr. Robleski.
Mr. Robleski.
Sorry,
Probably should
guys.
have asked this last month.
Is it? Oh, yes, it is today. The
There are
21st?
other ways. There are other ways, though. You can declare as a write-in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
could. Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's kind of information, that we need to know so we can start thinking about. So we know that I haven't heard of anybody else. Has anyone heard of anybody else running for the Board of Education?
No.
No.
I have not heard, but I will make a phone call tomorrow to the clerk's office to get a list of those individuals who've turned paperwork in, and then I'll communicate that with you.
Okay, that'll be.
As of yesterday, there are not.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I had. I just wanted to see who was going to be able to return, if everybody got their paperwork in, and that stuff. I won't get into all that extra stuff, political stuff, but I want to thank Mr. Heitmeyer, Mr. Forrester, Mr. Mangum, and Mr. Cornwell, and all of the administrative. This has just been a nightmare. I mean, it has really been hard. I just can't express to you all how hard this has been, and the work that our staff is putting in is beyond amazing. And if at the end of the school year, whatever the end of the school year looks like, I think we need to plan for some type of social distance party or something. I don't care if we do it on the football field, but we need to be able to, at the end of the year, just reflect on where we have been. And really this year and last year, because we just graduated a group of 20 kids at their houses, and we really didn't get a chance to process that. I know I didn't.
No.
And it looks like we may be graduating another group of kids at their houses. And for this year, this will be extra special for me because one of those kids will be my kid. And so I just think we need to spend some time and maybe debriefing and just really celebrating what we did in a safe way, if that's where we, still will be at the end of the 2021 school year. So hats off to you and your team. Hats off to my fellow board members who show up for meetings. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate all the hard work that everybody is definitely putting in. And we will be looking forward to where we're able to meet again, hug again, shake hands again, and be closer than 6 feet. So that's all I got. I'm not gonna hold everybody tonight, but if there's anything else, I know I hear that, Miss Martin. Is there anything else? Nothing else? Then we can make a motion to adjourn. I'm okay with that.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a
to
motion?
adjourn.
All right. Okay, Mr. Carter, does it work?
Let's just hang around for a minute.
We can hang around after the meeting is over. This is Google Meet, so we can hang out then. Is there a motion to end it though?
I'll
The meeting?
support.
Is that Mrs. Williams you support?
No, that was somebody else, but I'll support if they don't.
This is Peasky,
Peace.
Okay, Ms. Peace.
Mary Ann.
All right. Thank you, ladies. All right. So all in favor? Aye.
Right.
Motion
Aye.
is adjourned at 6:44 p.m. Thank you.
Have a great
everyone,
night,
for
everybody.
Good night.